guys, I'm Bri.
And I'm Alli, and this is Offscript.
If you think about it, books are potential scripts for movies.
When this adaptation happens, typically it's disappointing because they went off script.
In this series, we will be talking about how off script they went.
Alrighty, welcome to Offscript, the podcast where we compare
Books and movies for you.
Apparently we sing as well.
Not well.
All right, we are in season 2, episode 18.
We're almost done with season 2, guys.
I know.
Oh, crazy. That's like flown right on by.
It really has. Like, as much stress as we've been like, oh my gosh, we're running behind. It really is like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
We're almost on season 3.
I know.
Weird.
That'll be fun.
Insane. Yeah, especially since we'll have a new theme song for you guys.
I know. You'll have to give us your opinions because it is drastically different.
It's so much more different, but I love it.
It definitely feels like a
Action movie.
an action movie. Yes.
That's my favorite part of it.
Instead of like da, 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 like we got now. It feels like season 1 and 2 theme song is Alli, and season 3 plus is Bri.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get both of our, but I like it too. I'm not saying I don't like it. It's just it's very different, and I'm
Yes. Well, in the recap, I plan on having us like preview it.
Ooh.
So
okay.
you'll hear a preview of it, guys. But my favorite part about it is the fact that Alli and I, we technically kind of wrote it. Too,
Yeah.
Because my dad had us pick what instruments we wanted or like the drum beat that we wanted. And originally we chose like 80s rap, and we realized pretty quick that was not a good drum beat for our intro, sadly.
Me, I'm a country girl over here, and I'm like, whatever sounds good to me. And then it did end up sounding, it's
I
just
love it.
different. Like,
Yeah.
I like it. I need a couple episodes to get my head around it.
I also think that Alli, because like we had to record it differently too, like our voices. Because in the first one that we have, we're like, "Hi, I'm Bri, and I'm Alli." Like we're all
Offscript.
bubbly, but this one we had to be like, "I'm Bri,
And I'm Alli.
and this is off script."
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I only have heard it once, so I gotta listen to it a couple more times.
I got to hear it as my dad was like fine tuning it, so it's
Yes.
definitely like been in my head.
Oh,
Hey,
gosh.
I might actually listen to our intro and outro with
I know
this one.
you always skip it.
I do. I do.
Oh gosh. I always listen to it. All right.
There's our picture for you.
Yes. And happy May Day to everybody. Go put some flowers on people's doors. Did you ever do that as a kid?
Only in elementary school when
Yeah.
we made the
The
paper
little
ones.
Paper ones to put on people's doors. Yep, I know. That's all I've done too.
Yep.
So let's get going. So let's do a synopsis for you. Jacob Jankowski is a veterinarian student. He is close to graduating when a terrible tragedy forces him to leave school. With nowhere else to go, he hops on a passing train to find it belongs to a traveling circus. Jacob takes a job as an animal caretaker and meets Marlena, a beautiful circus performer. Their shared compassion for a special elephant named Rosie leads to love, but August, Marlena's cruel husband, stands in their way.
Rude.
So rude. Okie dokie. So our author is Sarah Gruen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Director, Francis Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
And our screenplay writer, same as last week, you guys,
I wonder if he's gonna suck as bad this time.
Richard. Oh, gosh. What did we say? What did we agree?
Lagraveness?
LaGraveness.
Lagraveness? I can't remember.
I don't know. He screwed up Beautiful Creatures. We'll screw up his name. Let's see if he screws up Water for Elephants. And so the audiobook reader was David Ladeau and John
Randolph Jones?
Uh-huh.
Did they do an old guy and a young guy?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I love that.
It was very cool.
Aw,
Yes. Yeah.
cute. That's one of my favorite things in the movie when it goes from the old guy narrating it to Rob and how they like
they
overlay
blend it.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, so they switched because the book, you guys, has 93-year-old Jacob and then 23-year-old Jacob, and it flips back and forth, back and forth. Okie dokie. So the book came out May 22nd, 2006.
2006?
Yes. And the movie April 22nd, 2011. That's a 5-year difference. I remember I worked at the theater when this movie came out.
Yeah.
And people kept coming up and asking for water for chocolate water for chocolate.
What?
I don't know. Like, surprisingly large amount of people. Like, I would get like 10 or so a day. Can I have one for water for chocolate? And I'm like, what?
Apparently it's also like Water for Chocolate is a Mexican romantic drama.
Oh.
That's hilarious.
Dude, it was so weird though. I'm like, can you guys just read?
Obviously you shouldn't be coming to see this movie.
It was just funny. Anyways, that was my fun little
I like
tidbit I got.
All right.
Okay. Which first, read or watch?
I read it first.
And I watched it first.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, what's gonna happen?
Let's see.
All right, initial thoughts.
It's a fun story. I like learning about the circus.
Dude, it was so freaking depressing. I felt so sad and bad when I watched and edited our TikTok reactions. You're like, I have a special place in my heart for this, because I was like, oh no, because I did not like it at all. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
Like the movie too?
I mean, no, it was sad. Are you watching him beat up the elephants and all these poor animals?
Sad, but that's not the whole story.
I know, but you show an animal lover at this movie, and I'm going to focus on these animals. It was sad, and I mean, I know the circus was horrible, right? And very glad they don't do animals anymore. But it's just, I didn't want to watch it. It was sad. Like, give me The Greatest Showman. I'll watch that circus movie.
Well,
I'm sorry. I know. I was like, oh no. You're like, it has a special place in my heart. I was like, oh,
it does.
no.
It does. I'm actually going to answer why.
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
And why did I pick it?
Oh, okay. Well, let's go there. Why did we pick it?
Okay. So, have I explained my star tattoo in this podcast yet?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I know that I've explained my nightmare.
I know you said you've had a tattoo, but I
Yeah.
don't think you've explained it.
So it was my freshman year when this movie was coming out of college. And at the time I almost said cinematography, computer science major, because I wanted to program. I wanted to do the CGI in film. And so I was getting a degree in, I almost again said cinematography, computer science. And I had a minor in film. And like my best friend at the time wanted to get matching tattoos. But I, at this time, had like 4 tattoos that I was set on getting for myself. And I didn't want to add in any others because I was like, the 4 that I have are like meaningful to me and I don't have any others that I want to get. And she wanted to get sister tattoos. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But she was like, I'll let you pick it and we'll go and get it. Thankfully, she ended up not getting this tattoo with me, but she was why I started this whole thought process. So I landed on the star. She went to the parlor with me to get it. And then she was like, nah, last minute. Yeah, don't know why.
Are you pissed about that? Oh, you were happy.
Yeah, I was glad because my reasoning for wanting this tattoo is we're getting there. You already know it. It's very personal for me.
Yes.
And so I think I hadn't said what I got yet. So I landed on, because I had been thinking about it for a while. And this was also in the Oscars. Like the hype around the Oscars was happening around the same time. Well, okay, the hype for the Oscars for me, I should say. And so I was getting ready for the Oscars. I was programming late every night and hating my life. And I was struggling because I knew that film was a really, really, really hard career to go for. And my problem with this career that I've chosen is I'm like, why me? Like, there's so many people in this career field already. There are a lot of people in LA in this career field already. There's a lot of people who are born into families that can get them right into this career field right away. So like, why me? And so I realized that I wanted something to help myself, especially I had a lot of professors later on in my college career who were film professors who flat out told us, you're learning at Northern Arizona University, you're never going to make it.
That's so sad.
Mm-hmm. I had a professor basically be like, get ready to just be a professor, which is why when one of my film professors asked me to be a editing professor, I said no, because I didn't want to get stuck. And I was like, I had it in my head that if I took that career, it would have got me stuck. That would have been the smartest thing I could have done, but I said no.
Oh, shoot.
So I, that night, realized that I wanted a tattoo that was going to help me to not be so hard on myself and not be so down, and be a reminder that your dreams are within your reach. What's the one thing that Hollywood is known for?
They're stars.
So that's why I got my star tattoo. And so I had just decided on this tattoo, but I still I still to this day have hard time like wrapping my head around what I want to do, because it is just so hard for me to get into. Like now it's even harder for me, because when I don't get the jobs that I want that are more in line with what I want to do, I'm like, see, this is just proof. Like, why did you get this degree? Why are you still trying to do this? And it sucks. But during the Oscars, they were showing a special trailer for Water for Elephants, and Robin Reese came on the stage and they were talking about it, and I was so excited. And they showed the trailer, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but have you ever had anything where like you've just experienced something where you just felt like in your body that you knew something to be true and you knew something to be right?
Yes.
So when I watched that trailer, I became so overwhelmed with emotions, and at first I didn't know what it was. I was like, why am I crying at this? Like, I love Rob. Like, I love him so much. And it got to the point where, like, I mean, you know me, back in high school. Now I do not watch trailers for movies. I wait until I'm in the movie theater to witness a trailer. Otherwise, I just stay away from the trailer altogether and wait for the movie to come out. But in high school, I would watch trailers all the time. With this one, I watched it like 30 times a day.
Wow.
Because something had clicked in me. And then one day I realized, I was like, it's because I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be making movies. This is why. Like, this movie is why I feel like that. Well, not why I feel like that, but this is the movie that made me believe that I can get there. But look, 10 years later and I'm still not there.
That's okay. You're still working on it. That's the point.
That's
you
true.
haven't given up.
That's true. That's true. I'm working. I'm trying.
You are.
Yeah. So that's why this movie has a special place in my heart.
Oh, shoot. Well,
yeah.
I'll be nice about it.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Oh, man. All right. Alli's super fun facts. Yay, that's next. Okay. So, the owner of the circus at the beginning of the movie and at the end of the book mentions the Hagenbeck Wallace wreck and the Hartford fire. And so these are both true events. On June 22nd, 1918, a troop train crashed into the Hagenbeck Wallace circus train after the driver fell asleep. The crash killed 86 people and injured 127.
Holy crap.
And then on July 6, 1944, a Ringling Brother and Barnum and Bailey Big Top Circus tent got fire during the performance in Hartford, Connecticut, killing 169 people and injuring over 700.
I'm pretty sure that My Favorite Murder covers that story.
Really?
Yeah.
My gosh. Yeah. I just found it fascinating because they mention it in the book and the movie, but they don't give any details to it. And so then reading what it really was, I was like, oh my gosh. Oh. All right. Number 2. Almost all the circus wagon carts that appeared in the movie were original carts from the Ringling Brothers show, which is hilarious because they hate the Ringling Brothers. So during production, the Circus World Museum in Baraboo,
all right,
Wisconsin, shipped its circus carts to California to be used for filming. As of late, they are now back in their original display building. I didn't even know there was a circus museum.
Yeah, well, what? I want to go.
It's quite fascinating.
Apparently, I want to go to Wisconsin. Okay. Oh, wait, that's where Kelsey is. I gotta go visit Kelsey.
There you go.
Kelsey, I'm coming. I just want to see the circus museum.
Scarlett Johansson was turned down the role for Marlena.
Kind of makes me happy. I don't like her.
Yeah, she wouldn't have. I don't think she would have done good.
I've been told that I look like her. I just gave you a really bad smile.
I don't know. I mean, I see elements.
Yeah, this is the one that I get told all the time, and it makes me so mad because I'm like, I don't like her.
Oh, well, I don't see it, if that makes you feel better.
Thank you. That does.
Okay. The screenplay for this film was featured in the 2009 blacklist of most liked unmade scripts of the year. Why is it a blacklist if it's most liked?
A yearly roundup of the best unproduced screenplays doing the rounds in Hollywood. Oh, so basically it's the scripts that don't get made, but then everyone's like, they don't get made, but they don't get made not because they weren't good scripts. It's just like, we'll put this one on the back burner. We'll put this one on the back burner. Oh, okay. And then they go through and...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was most liked unmade script of that year.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so jumping back, an elephant named Modoc and her oh my gosh, you guys. Trainer Bram, I'm just going to say Bram.
Gunterstein?
Sure. On July 6, 1944, in the Ringling Fire, they helped save so many lives. So this elephant helped save a bunch of lives. Mm-hmm. Yeah, gotta love elephants.
I know, they're so cool.
They are.
All right.
Okie dokie, let's do this. Okay, so the book starts off with kind of a flashback. I mean, this whole book is flashback.
Did you like that this one had a preface? Kind of?
Yeah.
I read that and I was like, oh, Allie's going to like that.
Yes. Preface. I'm going to say it right this time. Preface. Preface.
Look at that preface.
I can't be
better than your post face.
Can't be the only one that calls it that. Okay, so I really liked it because here's what it is. There's a memory about this time that Jacob, the main guy we're following, working at the circus, and all the animals got loose and there was a stampede and the elephant kills someone and it's just like, what is happening? But I'll get to it when it really happens.
Right?
Okay.
That doesn't happen in the movie. There's no preface.
Nope. Okay.
I had preface in my head, so I almost said it.
You should have. All right. So the whole book is, I got very, like it.
That's why you put 93 and 23. I was so confused about the 93 and 23. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. So it's like, he jumps between being 93 and jumps between being 23 because he's telling the story. And so it starts off as a 93-year-old man. And we learned that we're following Jacob Jankowski. Mm-hmm. And he's currently living in the assisted living home. And he sees that a circus came to town. He sees them out the window. And he's like super excited. And his roommate's like, ha, ha, ha. I used to work at the circus. I would get water.
Not roommate. Just an old dude at the home who's eating dinner with him.
Okay.
Like he's a new guy and they tried to put him at the table with him because they were like, oh, be friends.
Oh, okay.
And then he said this and Jacob's like, screw you.
He's like, I used to work at the circus. And Jacob's like,
what'd you do?
Yeah.
What did he do, Allie?
He got water for the elephants.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Is what Jacob says. And yeah. And so Jacob's a little pissed because Jacob really worked at the circus.
But he doesn't like to boast or brag about it.
Nope. But we'll jump back in time and learn about that.
Yeah. In the movie, we don't flip back and forth throughout the whole thing. So right off the bat, we just get Jacob Jankowski, 93 years old, at the circus. But I think it's so sad because he just misses the circus altogether.
I know.
And he's just there like, what? Did I miss the circus?
So yeah, because this scene happens at the end of the book. So they just like took the end scene and kind of put it at the beginning and the end.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Why? Especially since like I like this better almost because I like him. Well, it's like, or wait, no, what it is he's like, it's raining outside. So he doesn't want the old dude to be left outside, the circus manager. So he takes him inside so that he can call the different homes. But then the guy starts talking to him about all the circus pictures he's got. And he's like, oh, you know stuff. And then he like goes into his backstory. And I like that rather than like in the book, it just really felt like an old dude kind of slipping back into his thoughts of reminiscing.
And it really wasn't needed. Like all the 93 posts were like
Posts?
Yeah. All my posts about the 93.
Oh.
We're just like,
I thought you meant like on Facebook. I was like,
yes. No, they just like him jumping back to the present. It was like, I mean, it's nice that we know or learning how you are now.
But I really hated it because it always happened right in the middle of.
It left you at a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Something real good was happening. And I was like, what?
For example. So we're jumped to 23-year-old Jacob. And he's going to school to get his vet degree. And his parents all of a sudden died in a car crash. And we find out that all their belongings were claimed to the bank. So Jacob's left with nothing. And
Poor Jacob.
I know. So he goes back to school and he tries to finish his degree, but like he just can't focus. So he just gets up and leaves. And he found a train and he's like, okay, I'm tired of walking. I'm going to hop this train.
He's like, I've got nothing here. I've got nowhere to go. Might as well just get on this train.
And so he did. And he got caught and he was almost thrown off this train. But a man named Camel kept him on. He's like, oh, we'll see about getting you a job. And they begin setting up once they get to the next town, the Big Top. And before they could officially get him the job with Big Al, he kind of just, Big Al, see?
Oh,
Why did I do that?
I don't know.
Uncle Al.
Apparently he was big to you.
Big Al. Isn't that what
they call Fat Albert?
No, isn't that what Al's Toy Barn. Do they call him Big Al too? Toy Story? I don't know.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Maybe that's where I got it from. I don't know. Whatever.
It's
Al.
Uncle Al.
Uncle Al. And so he's just kind of like helping out. He sees this really pretty girl working with the horses. And after the show, Camel got him to go see Uncle Al. And
Now you got me confused. I was like, no, Big Al.
no, I think he takes him to see Uncle Al, which is the ringleader. And at first he didn't want to give him the job, but then he finds out that Jacob's a vet. And he's like, oh, okay, go check out these horses. And he also asked if Jacob had ever seen a show, and Jacob lies. And he's like, yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, what act? He's like, the one with the horses. And he's like, oh, yes, that's our best act. It's a good eye. And so he hired him to work with this guy named August, who was like the leader of all the animals. And
in the movie, Jacob's parents' accident happens during his final exams. So it doesn't happen right before. And so he doesn't go to his exams and is trying to deal with his grief instead.
Okay. I have very mixed feelings about this.
Why would they come in and interrupt his exam?
Right. Okay, like I get your parents died and like that's kind of something important that you should be told.
Yeah.
But like just let you finish the exam. It's like a 2-hour exam.
Yep.
and then you'll have your degree. Whereas they got to know he's not going to finish the exam after this.
Right? He's not coming back.
No.
Like, I know, it makes no sense.
Because I have mixed feelings. Because I'm like, on the receiving end, I would want to know right away.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
But at the same time, it'd be like,
if you had just given me an hour and a half.
Gosh, I could be better off. I could actually have a degree.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially since the bank's about to take all my home.
Exactly. Gosh.
Yeah. I think Rob did a good job at this scene because my next note says I wanted to give him a hug because he just looked so sad.
Oh, God.
He just looked so sad. And then when the banker's talking to him and telling him, like, you don't have anything. Like, your dad was an idiot and was selling his goods for whatever people had, blah, blah, blah. He's like, this really only happened like 4 years ago. Was there something that he needed a loan for or something? Mm-hmm. And Jacob goes, well, my tuition. That was never mentioned in the book. In the book, it was just thought about. And he was like, well, maybe it was for my college, but like, I don't know. My parents never talked to me about that. But like in the movie, the banker just full on makes him feel guilty about it.
He's like, well, maybe if you didn't go to college. Yeah. I was like, wow.
This guy just got his final exam interrupted.
God, his parents are dead. And it's like, what a jerk.
Yeah. And then when he goes to run to get on the train in the book, he doesn't have anything with him. It's just him walking away. But in the movie, he's like packed up his clothes and has it in a suitcase. Then he ends up leaving it when he jumps on the train. And when he jumps on the train, I felt like they were way more aggressive in the movie than they were in the book. Like, yeah, they go to like kick him out, but they weren't like in the movie, they had a gun pointed at him. And like, they weren't mean in the movie. In the movie, there is no Uncle Al. August is basically Uncle Al and August. Mm-hmm. And then my next note is talking about after they're already like setting up the circus and stuff. But this movie makes me think about how cool it would be to be an actor because you get to live so many different lives. Like, guess what? You are now going and working on a circus. Oh, but you're now going to be a space astronaut person. Oh, but you're going to go be an accountant now. Like, they get to do everything.
Yeah. Without having to do anything.
Exactly.
Like, you don't have to go to school to learn how to be an astronaut. You just go and do it.
Yeah. I know in interviews, Rob said this was one of his favorite movies to do because he actually like felt like he was like getting nitty and gritty with his work.
Oh, that's cool.
It was like actual hard labor for him. I was like, I feel like a lot of actors would hate that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And now, I guess I could just say this because it's hilarious. Mm-hmm. My next note is because now we're at the part where he's working before he meets Uncle Al or August in the movie. My next note is, why is Rob not shirtless when he's shoveling the manure? The other dude is shirtless and he's wearing a tank top.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, dude, just take it off. So then when he's shoveling more manure later on in the movie, like time quickly goes. So he's shoveling with one dude at the start of the day and now it's the end of the day and he's like shoveling, I think it's hay, but he then sees a pretty girl with some horses through a tent crack and he sees that the horse's front leg is shaking and the girl is like, oh, what's wrong? And so he just like bursts into the tent and is like, excuse me, ma'am, can I take a look? Mm-hmm. And looks at her horse without being anyone.
Yeah.
Why is Marlena being an idiot and letting some random dude she doesn't know?
No thanks, go away.
Like, you may not know all the workers, but you've been on this circus for how long now? You should know their faces. Like, so then when Jacob meets August, he's trying to convince them to keep him. And August right away is trying to get Jacob thrown off of the train. He's like not even listening to anything he says. And he's like, so Jacob comes back with, because he looked at the horse's foot already. He's like, your star horse is about to be dead in so many weeks, blah, blah, blah. And then knowing that August doesn't like Ringling Brothers, he yells out that Ringling has a vet. Mm-hmm. In the book, it's August who tells Al that Ringling has a vet, so they should probably get a vet on board. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the book jumps back to present time of 93-year-old Jacob, and it's just showing how much he hates living in this assisted living home. And he finds out that he's going to circus tomorrow, though, because his family comes on Sundays. And he's a super grumpy man. I really pictured like Carl from Up. Like just the grumpy old man. And he gets so worked up that he was like given a pill and an injection to calm down. Like he just gets frustrated.
So angry.
And like we said, he does not jump back in time.
No.
So
I'm thankful for that.
yeah.
Could you imagine watching that? It would be like The Notebook.
It would be like The Notebook. So back to 23-year-old Jacob. He's checking the lead horse, and he does determine that it cannot act anymore due to this foot injury. And it actually should even be put down because it's in a lot of pain. And they pack up to go to the next town. And it's a 3-day journey. And Jacob helps August feed the cats. And August is like, here, feed Rex over there. And Rex goes and freaking bites his arm. But don't worry, Rex doesn't have any teeth. But oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. That would be so scary. Like, just imagine even, like, what would you do if a lion went to bite down on your arm?
Right, because I mean, its jaws have to be tough still. And then it still has claws. Ugh, no thanks. And so then Marlena and August, we find out they're a couple, and they invite Jacob to their estate car for dinner. And overall, it was a pretty good evening, but there was this time that Jacob noticed August got pretty rough with Marlena, like kind of grabbed her face a little bit. And she's just like, oh, kind of blaming it on the alcohol type of thing.
Blame it on the alcohol. Blame it on the alcohol. Boom.
Okay.
Sorry, you said it.
And so then the next day, Jacob goes to check on the horses, and he lets Marlena know.
That's a good thing about this book. This dude didn't freaking like jumble it.
Yes.
It still pretty much goes in line with what happens, but it's not jumbled.
Yes. And so this time Marlena is there. Well, she was there. Oh no, she was there in the movie, not in the book. When he checked the horse the first time. Right. So this time she's there, and he let her know that the horse needs to be put down, because August was just like, no, like, sucks. We're not going to put it down. But now that Marlena knows, he went and got a gun from August, who was not happy about this, but he agreed. And they shot the horse.
Because Marlena asked Jacob to put him down. She's like, can you just make sure he's not suffering?
Yeah. And they shot him, and they ended up feeding it to the cats. Oh, because when they fed the cats, it was like this putrid, disgusting, like rotting meat, because they didn't have anything else to feed them, because these poor creatures are not taken care of. It was just so sad.
It's also the Great Depression, so that there was no meat to get anywhere.
Right.
So they already fed them all the goats. So
sad.
So in the movie, a lot of this basically happens. But in the movie, when Jacob first checks the horse with August there that morning, he immediately was like, okay, the horse needs to be put down. And this is what leads August to go and do the whole Rex thing with him, because he's like, how dare you tell me that my star horse needs to be put down? How am I supposed to make money if my star horse is getting put down when they're who brings in the money? Like, what? My next note is, I'm so proud of Rob.
Oh my gosh.
Do I know what I'm proud of him for? I don't know.
Gosh.
The thing with the horse happens like so quick in the movie. In the book, it was over the course of a few weeks. Like, it wasn't, the horse got put on like bed rest type of thing, and it was just taken out of the show, and she was using her other horses for the show. In the movie, it was, horse needs to be put down. Don't put my horse down. Goes to check on the horse again. Marlene is in there, and it's like, it's bad, isn't it? And he's like, yes, it is. And she's like, I just don't want him to suffer. So then Rob goes and grabs a gun.
Yep.
And Marlena stays in the car, like Alli mentioned, with him. And Jacob's like, you should probably leave. And she goes, no, I'll stay here to help him, keep him calm. And then shoots the horse. And August isn't aware of the horse getting shot. Whereas in the book, he is aware. And Jacob is like, you should go, like, make sure Marlene is nowhere nearby. Because if she hears this gunshot, she's going to know what it's for. And she's going to be hurt. And August is like, oh, that's a good idea. What an idiot. Why didn't you think of that? And then, because August wasn't aware of the horse getting shot, he then goes to have Jacob red lighted, which is when they take people and throw them off of the train, no matter what kind of train they're at. So you could die, you could land totally fine. Who knows?
He's thrown over a freaking bridge.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we jump back to 93-year-old Jacob, and we learn that he has 5 kids, and they all take turns coming to see him. And this includes the grandkids and the great-grandkids. And so he just can't keep track of, like, he remembers his kids. He knows who his kids are, but all these grandkids, he can't remember all their names. And so
I could feel it.
Yes.
My grandma couldn't keep straight who was who. She would go through all my cousins' names, all my aunts and uncles' names, my dad's name, and then finally land on my name.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, Grandma, I'm your first grandchild. How could you forget my name? But then I'd watch her do it with like Rebecca or something. She would be like, Brianna, no. And then go through everyone's name.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, good, it's not just me.
Right. All right, so back to 23-year-old Jacob. The circus stops at like a leftover circus, and they get to poke through.
Like how you say that.
The leftovers. Poke through the leftovers. A circus
Basically,
that didn't make it.
Yeah, because of the Depression.
Yeah. And Uncle Al ended up spending all their money on an elephant and an elephant car.
What an idiot.
I know. And then they're like, no one knows how to ride an elephant. We don't take care of elephants. And like, why would you spend it on the freaking car and everything like this? And Marlena and August were instructed to create an act with it. And Jacob is now the bull man, which I didn't know all elephants were called bulls. I thought only males were. I learned that in this book.
Yeah.
And so it was just a lot more detail about how awful the animals are treated. Like the monkeys were like, they were all being starved. And they're like, because Uncle Al was trying to get a deal on the money or on the food or whatever. And so they're like, just let him go another day. And then the other people end up feeling bad and breaking and cutting the cost and everything. It's just sad.
It was the animals that were part of the leftover circus. It wasn't their own animals that were part of their circus. It was the animals that they were trying to apprehend. And so they wanted them, the like mayor and the cops, to feel bad for the animals, to then just give them a deal on it because they didn't have a whole lot of money.
Got it.
In these ways are where the Depression and that storyline comes into play even more. But yes.
All right. So
and
then
Jacob just wants to go and save them.
Yes, because he's a good vet. And so Jacob ends up getting super drunk. Oh, because it's also, during the Depression, it's the Prohibition as well. So anytime they get some alcohol, it's like, all right, time to party before we get raided and arrested. And so he gets super drunk, and a couple of the showgirls come and show him a good time, and he throws up on them.
This is one of my favorite scenes in the book because not only that, but Jacob's a virgin, so he's like, "Whoa, is this really about to happen?"
Oh my gosh! He throws up on him.
He throws up on him, and he's like, "I really hope that didn't just happen."
But it does. Everybody makes fun of him for it the next day. And so, also the next day, he goes to meet August to train with Rosie, but
you don't even put in my favorite part of the next day.
Okay, you go.
The girls dressed him up like a clown.
Okay, I did not put that in.
And made him I can't remember where they put him in the book because it's different than in the movie, but they put him somewhere where he has to like walk out to go back to his place to wipe off all of his face. But it's hilarious. So here's where it gets jumbled. What happens next in the movie is what you're about to talk about, and then what you just talked about happens.
Well, then I'll finish.
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes to meet up with August to train Rosie, but August is just basically beating the crap out of her because she's not listening. And he's like, I can't believe we wasted all our money on this, blah, 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 blah. And he then makes friends with Walter and Queenie, who is the little small clown guy, and his dog.
Little small clown guy.
Little small clown guy.
Dwarf.
Yeah, he's a little small clown guy. And they've been roommates since he got hired on, but Walter's never liked him. But now
he's always been Kinko,
yeah.
To him.
But his dog was having tummy troubles, so Jacob helped him.
Yeah, told him to give him some honey,
and so now Walter likes him.
Yeah, because it actually helped.
Because he loves his doggy.
Yeah.
And so then August, Marlena, and Jacob go to this fancy party where there's a lot of alcohol being served. And so August goes to get some more, and Marlena just wants to dance with Jacob. So she gets up and dances, and it's like intimate, like they're nice and close and everything. And what's his name?
August
kind of sort of sees, like, and then a cop shows up and yells raid, and so everybody runs. I just think that's funny. Like, if you're a cop trying to catch people, would you bust in and be raid? Like, everybody run. You think you'd be sneaky?
Not in the 30s, apparently.
No. And so
the cops wanted everyone to run so that they could drink the alcohol.
That must be what it is. Like, oh, good, they're gone.
Finally.
Okay, so then Jacob and Marlena end up running off together, and they get somewhere quiet, and they end up kissing. And Jacob just apologizes, and it gets kind of awkward. And the next day, I love that Walter was like, what did you do? Like, he figured it out. He's like, you better go over there and sit at the table, because he'd been sitting with August and Marlena every morning, and now he doesn't want to. He's like, you go sit out over there and act like nothing's happened. And August is being very suspicious already. And so they do their first show with the elephant, and she doesn't listen at all, and it ends up hurting Marlena. Like, she bruises her heels.
I know.
They made it seem like she was super hurt. Like, they were like all worried about her, got the doctor, and I'm like, your heels are bruised. Like, unless there's something more that I'm not understanding. But is it just like it hurts to walk?
Let's look it up. Let's see how bad this is. A contusion of the tissue and bone under the heel. The heel bone, or blah, 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 bone, as it is called, is protected by a pad of fatty tissue. This is composed of an elastic fibrous. That didn't help.
No.
Dude, but plantar fasciitis sucks. So I guess based off of that.
A bruised heel is an injury to the fat pad that protects the heel bone. Maybe it is super painful. I don't know.
Yeah, from the looks, from the different things here, I'm like, a fall or twist of your foot, like.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Yeah.
Because in my head, it was just like a little bruise.
A bruise.
I'm
Yeah.
like, big deal.
No.
So she ended up hurting Marlena, August goes and beats the crap out of Rosie again. And so the way that he beats her is he has this bull hook. And so the way I kind of imagine it, it's kind of like sort of like a crowbar, but on the ends it's like pointy, not just a little hook crowbar thing. So he's making her all bloody and everything. Poor widow elephant.
It ain't little.
It's true. She's old too. She's like 53 or something like that.
Okay. So in the movie, a lot of this happens, but a lot of things happen very differently. And so some things are flipped because after August goes to have Jacob red lit off the train. I don't know. It's now the next day and they're at the carcass of the circus that didn't make it. And August is excited and throws a celebration for Rosie. And he like brings a bunch of people over to pop champagne to celebrate Rosie.
Yeah.
In the book, that doesn't happen. It's a very quiet, like Uncle Al grabs August, Jacob. I don't even think he grabs Marlena. He just grabs them and is like, look at what I got us. We need to get an act together. You go get Marlena. You guys start working on this. My next note is I love the elephant. She's a cutie. And then August leaves Marlena and Jacob alone with the elephant because he's basically like, okay, guys, get to know her. And there's a song playing and the elephant starts dancing to it. And you can see her going for Rob's pockets for the peanuts. And Marlena says something about, yeah, this is a good song. And Jacob then tells her the title of the song, which is I'm Confessing That I Love You. But he says it not saying like, oh, the song's called, but he just says, I'm confessing that I love you.
It was very weird.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah. When I first saw it after having read the book, I was like, what? Huh? This does not happen now. I was so confused. So then, because they're excited about the elephant, this is when Marlena and August invite Jacob to their estate room. So he goes to their room and they have a dinner and dancing, like Alli said. But this is also like Jacob gets really drunk in the movie because they put this happens right before the party with Walter and everyone where he gets sick with the showgirls. But I have a fun fact for right here that cracks me up every time I watch this movie. For the drunk scenes, Rob got drunk. So he, like, if you watch him, there's a thing where like he comes up and I can't remember if Queenie's doing a trick or something, but he walks up and he goes, "Bravo, Queenie!" And like how he says it, I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're so shit faced."
Oh my gosh!
But then all I could think is
it's method acting right there.
The director's like, "Yes, Rob, be drunk. Come to work drunk.
Right?
It's fine." That's what I want to
sober up for the next however many.
So then, in the estate room though, after August got rough with Marlena then makes Jacob dance with her, which this doesn't happen in the book. They don't dance together. They just kind of chit chat. But then another, I can't remember what the song title is that she says, but she tells him the song title and something like, I'm confessing that I love you. Which again, I was also like, what? I don't think we needed that in here. They made Rob dress like a clown, and that I love that scene so much. I assumed when I saw this movie that was going to be what got cut out of it. I was like, that's such a small detail that doesn't need to be in the movie. And then it was in the movie. I was so excited the first time I saw this movie. I was like, thank you. I also, oh my gosh, to see the midnight premiere of this movie. Flagstaff is such a small town that they didn't have a midnight premiere for Water for Elephants. I had to drive to Phoenix for the weekend.
Oh my gosh.
You would hang out with my aunt and uncle and then go and borrow their car to go to
Oh my gosh.
It was also scary because that was the first time that I saw a wild coyote. Or was it a coyote or no, I don't think they have cougars.
They have cougars down there, I think.
Oh, do they? Oh,
I
then
don't
it was a
know.
cougar. Because
Was it a dog or a cat?
No, it was a cat. Like,
Okay.
I was freaked the fuck out.
That would be scary.
Because it was just crossing the road and it was the middle of the night. And like where my aunt and uncle live in Phoenix, they're like...
The puma, also called a cougar, mountain lion, or panther, is the state's second heaviest field after the jaguar. Is also broadly distributed in Arizona.
Holy shit, I didn't... It was. Because I remember being freaked the fuck out because I was like, holy shit, I've never seen one of these in the wild. And I've seen coyote all the time up here, so I wouldn't have been a coyote. But where my aunt and uncle live, they're a good like 30 minutes out from an actual town, and like they don't have a whole lot of road lights. So like I didn't see it until I was right up on it, and thankfully it just like ran away and didn't like try to fight the car or something.
Yeah.
Because with my luck it would have.
Right?
And all I could think was, I just want to go see Rob.
Just let me see my movie.
Basically. But yeah, so when they kept in that clown scene, it made everything that I had to go through for this worth it. Part of why Jacob and Walter party in the book is because Jacob's already given the advice about Queenie and giving her honey. In the movie, he gives the advice after the party. And that kind of annoys me because I'm like, because he comes into the car to go to bed and Walter's there partying and he's like, hey, it's my friend Jacob.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you guys aren't friends yet. In the movie, after August has beat Rosie, I almost said Marlena.
Not yet.
Jacob and Marlena go to tend to her and like wipe her wounds and stuff. And they do not do that in the book because I think they know that if August found them, it would be 10 times worse. And then after Marlena gets injured in the movie, Jacob's supposed to carry her to Barbara's tent, but instead in the movie, August and Marlena just go run into the menagerie tent where all the animals are and are checking on her heels.
Have you ever been to a circus?
When I was very, very young. Not ever since. And I think circuses are like, I'm sad when I go to zoos, but I know that zoos do a lot more conservation thing, but circuses.
Well, animals aren't allowed in circuses anymore.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So like we just went to the circus and there are no animals anymore.
So then what the heck is, you're just watching clowns?
Watch clowns, trapeze artists, and
I'd rather go see Cirque du Soleil.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, we went and it's just a total like
waste of money.
So much so. So like I took the kids and we got there a little bit later because they had before the show you could go down and they had like, you know, like a little pony, like fun little things for the kids to do. And we got there a little late, so I was like, oh shoot, you know, sorry guys. And you know, my kids were a little sad, so I felt bad, so I bought them, you know, like each a cotton candy and like a Slurpee or whatever. Well, each one of those things is like $7 or $10. I was like, oh, that's so annoying. And then halftime or intermission, they bring all this stuff back out. So then my kids are like, oh, can we go? And in my head, I'm like, I just paid for you not to do this. But how am I going to sit here for an hour while they watch all these other kids do this stuff? So then I go down there and then it costs me like $100 for each of them to do two things. It was ridiculous. I was like, we're never going to the circus again. I will pay for just because of Greatest Showman. I'll pay for what are they called? What's their something in Bailey?
Barnum Bailey?
Because they don't have the animals anymore. But I feel like they would still be able to do a good show. But man, those would be expensive tickets. So that might just be a me go. Because no, they're so expensive. So don't do it. It's not worth it.
Okay.
Anyways, that was a tangent. I was just wondering. Anyways, okay. So back to 93-year-old.
If Rob was at the circus, I'd be going, but I'd be trying to find the guy behind the scenes. Where's your boy?
Where's your vet? Where's the vet?
I need to see the vet. I have an injured animal.
All right, 93-year-old Jacob. It continues to just show how grumpy he is, but he does really like his nurse, who is Rosemary, who's been taking care of him. Even though he might not act like it, he likes her.
Yeah, he does.
So then, back to 23-year-old. There's something wrong with Camel, and his whole bottom half of his body is numb and not moving, not working, and the workers are not getting paid right now because of Rosie's purchases, and Rosie's not performing because she's freaking hurting Marlena. So it's just been a whole nightmare. So they can't afford to get a doctor to come see him. And Marlena's like, hey, okay, doctor's coming to see about my feet, and I'll send him down to you. And it turns out that Camel is paralyzed forever because he had bad bootlegged alcohol
called Jake.
Yep. And they come up with a plan saying, okay, you know what? He had mentioned that he has a son in one of the towns we're going to stop at. Let's just hide him until we get there, and then we'll shoo him on his way. But, of course, they have to hide him because if Uncle Al sees that a stowaway is eating all his food and not doing anything, he's going to get red lighted.
Mm-hmm. In the movie, after Marlena gets injured, they have to find Rosie. Because in the book, too, Rosie ends up going and she's eating a woman's Cabbage Patch. And so they send Jacob to go and get her, but he doesn't know how to make her move. In the book, it's too random. Like, there are other menagerie men, I think. They're not meant to work solely with I almost said with the waters, with the animals. And so, but one of them knows that elephants like alcohol, and so that's how they get Rosie back. In the movie, Camel is the one who goes and helps Jacob, and he's the one who's like, look at this, elephants like alcohol. So then they get her back, and Jacob's excited to tell August about like this, but August is just pissed because she hurt Marlena. So he grabs a bullhook and goes to beat her. And so Jacob and Marlena, who's injured and not supposed to be walking on her feet, gets up and runs out of the car to chase after him. And Jacob tries to stop him, but August turns around and goes to beat Jacob, which does not happen in the book because Jacob and Marlena stay back in the car because Marlena's like, if you chase after him, it'll be worse for her. If you do, just let him go and do his thing. So then this is also kind of when Marlena then ignores August in the movie, because that happens a little bit later in the book, but like way later and for very different purposes. My next note is Marlena is supposed to be 21, but I also like Reese, so
I don't know. Okay, so later that night, Jacob goes to Marlena's car and they talk about the kiss that they had at the raid.
I want to make mention that this has not yet happened in the movie.
Oh yeah, you're right. It hasn't yet.
We're getting close to it, but this hasn't happened yet.
Okay. So days went by.
Days go by.
I can feel the fun. Keith Urban. Yep. Okay, so and he doesn't seem
like how you had to figure out.
I knew who it was. I was like, oh, I should tell people in case they don't know. Keith Urban, everybody.
Because our singing made them want to go find it.
It's a great song. And Marlena's just not coming out. One, she's healing, but two, also things got real awkward with Jacob. And so finally she comes out for her act, and he fell in love with her even more because she did such a great job. And August and Marlena had lunch together, and he complimented her, saying that it was the first time he saw her act. And August called him out saying, you know, you said you saw her act the day you were hired. And Jacob ended up just blowing up and yelling at him. And August was like frozen at first, and then he just starts busting up laughing.
I wish that was in the movie.
Yeah, it's not.
No.
So once they pack up to leave town, Walter can't find Queenie. And he's just like looking everywhere. And Jacob's like, they blew the whistle. We have to go now. So he pulls him onto the train. And then Camel finds out that they're taking him to his son, which he didn't know about.
Because Walter's so pissed off that Queenie's not there. So he's just like,
he's
telling everything.
Yes. And he's like, they're getting at each other for like
the smallest little things. Yeah.
And everything like this.
Yeah.
So that's how we find out. And he didn't, Camel didn't know they were dropping him off at his son. And so he starts crying and it's like, it's this whole thing. And then Marlena comes in. She's like, oh, does this dog belong to you? August saved him. She was going to die. So I'm glad that she ended up being okay. That didn't happen, did it?
No.
Okay. And so someone... I thought this was so funny. So they sell lemonade at their show and it's being stolen. Someone keeps stealing it and they're losing money on it. Finally, they're making like nasty lemonade with the animals' water
that they've been drinking out of already.
So they have to sift all the hay and gross out of it. Oh my gosh, I would just want to throw up.
And then just throw in
it's so gross. I just want to throw up. Oh my gosh. Well, it turns out Rosie is stealing it. She like picks it up and drinks it and then puts it back and then goes back and puts her little steak back in the ground. And of course, when this is found out, Uncle Al yells at August and August doesn't like getting yelled at. So he goes and beats up Rosie again.
So the lemonade isn't a huge storyline, but it is a cute little, it's a cute little nod for people who've read the books, because there's a scene where Jacob he gets Rosie set up and he's about to wash, or no, he's getting her dressed for her show. And she takes the steak out and she goes and gets the lemonade and then carries the steak back. And Jacob just sits there and watches her in awe, like, she just did that. So in the movie, after August has now beat Rosie and Marlena's not talking to August, Jacob picks up a bullhook and goes to do damage to August, but August is in the stateroom crying over Marlena ignoring him. And then he's like, is there anything I can do for you? Like, Rosie, is she okay? Blah, blah, blah. And Jacob says, we need whiskey for her. And so then August gives him all the whiskey from his room. Mm-hmm. And so then Jacob is taking care of Rosie with the whiskey. And one thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that Jacob is Polish. And Camel, when he first met Jacob, also told him that he's Polish. And so they've been talking here and there in Polish. And in the movie, Camel's legs have started to act up, but he can still kind of get around. So Jacob's there and he's cleaning Rosie's side from getting beat, and Camel's sitting on a towel that he needs, and so he's telling Camel to lift his leg up to get the rag. I think it's so funny because the old guy can hear. He's just not doing it. I don't know why. But then Jacob starts talking to him in Polish to lift his leg up.
Yeah.
He's annoyed. He wants you to lift your leg up. But then this is when we find out that Rosie speaks Polish, because she has a backstory where she basically was raised by people in Poland. Mm-hmm. And so she lifts her leg up after he has now said it in Polish to her. Mm-hmm. So then, after they find out that Rosie speaks Polish, this is when August, Marlena, and Jacob go to the bar, go have drinks and stuff. And when August goes to get more champagne for them to drink at the table before Marlena and Jacob go and dance, we learn about Marlena's backstory, and it is all kinds of fucked up. Mm-hmm. In the book, she is from a Catholic family, I think it was, or like Episcopal or Christian something. And August is Jewish. I'm pretty sure. And so when she went to the circus and fell in love with August and like went to get married with him, her family disowned her and was like, you can't marry a Jew. Like, that's horrible. And they disowned her. And so August is now her only family. So is the circus. In the movie, she was a baby left for dead, basically. Like, not even at an orphanage.
And the circus found her.
Yeah. So all she's ever known is the circus.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. And then my next note is I want to dance with Rob with a sad face. And then in the alley when Marlena and Jacob kiss, Marlena is the one who kisses Jacob in the movie, not the other way around. Mm-hmm. And then after this, Jacob goes and sleeps with Rosie. And I think that's a really cute scene, actually. I really like that he goes and sleeps with her.
Yeah.
And then Walter comes and wakes Jacob up. Walter comes and wakes Jacob up and is like, hey, come see Camel. Rather than the two menagerie men in the book who came and told him about Camel.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because Walter wakes Jacob up to go check on Camel because he's the vet. So they want a doctor to look at him and they're like, you're the vet. You know what to do. Mm-hmm. And so they all sit around and talk. And then Walter's the one who's like, he's got Jake leg. I'm like, why did you just wake Jacob up if you were going to be the one to know? So then Jacob and Walter are like, what are we going to do? They're going to throw him off. And Jacob is just like right then and there. He's got a son. We're going to go. We'll just drop him off there. Whereas like in the book, they did a lot of research and Walter kept going into town to find the son. And also they got the city wrong where the son lives.
Oh.
Yeah.
How dare they?
I was upset. So after the kiss the next morning, first off in the movie, they don't do breakfast scenes often. So Jacob hasn't been sitting at the breakfast table with Marlena and August. So Jacob comes and asks Marlena if he can sit at their table in the movie. Whereas in the book, it was, you have to go sit over there. Otherwise, it's going to be obvious that things happen. And then I guess the movie adds in an extra scene that wasn't in the book at all.
Okay.
They do a welcome to the Benzini brothers party for Jacob, which I actually thought was really cute because they like pied him in the face and sprayed him with water and stuff. But also it's the Depression. Should you not be wasting all your shit?
I know, right? Save that for a show.
Yeah.
True. All right. So 93-year-old Jacob is starting to lose his memory and it's really starting to scare him. That's all we learned from that bit. Then we go back to 23-year-old. And this is where we learn Marlena's backstory. And then Jacob gets alcohol from Camel and Walter, and he brings it to Rosie because he feels really bad because she was just beat up again. And when he's there, Grady, who's another caretaker of the animals.
Grady is actually the one who's been Grady is the one who told Jacob about the alcohol. He's the one who actually you're about to talk about her figuring out about the Polish here. And so Grady is the one who's basically, he also came and got him when Camel was first.
Okay.
Grady's the best friend menagerie man.
Yeah.
Basically who's there but never there.
Okay. So he gets there and Grady's taking care of Rosie because and he's speaking Polish to her. And Jacob's like, what? Like, she knows what you're saying?
Also, sir, my last name is Jankowski. Did you not know that I was Polish? Why didn't you tell me this?
And so it turns out Rosie understands Polish, and that's all they needed because now August, Jacob, and Marlena have their act, and Rosie becomes the star of the show, and she's bringing in a bunch of money now. And to celebrate a great first show because they had been like working to make sure their act is perfect. And then they had their first show and it went great. And she tells Jacob to come bring Rosie by her car, but don't tell August because it's going to be a surprise. And August had kind of seen this little conversation, and he gets there and he's pissed, and he's accusing them of sleeping together because like she only had 2 glasses in her hand at that time because like
how are you carrying 3 hands or 3 hands
3 glasses. And so like all this sort of stuff, she's like, we're not, and everything like this. And then he pushes Marlena, and Jacob just jumps in, and they just beat the freaking crap out of each other. Like, oh man, it was bad. And finally, somehow Jacob gets away. Does someone drag him away?
Grady
drags him away. And yeah, and so he's in his cart with Walter. And Marlena comes and is like, just so you know that I'm leaving him. I'm leaving August.
Yes. So at the little Benzini brothers party, this is when Marlena comes up to him and is like, hey, after the show, can you bring Marlena to my tent? It's a surprise and don't tell anyone. But August sees, and yeah, he gets pissed. So in the book, Jacob was invited to the surprise too. It was supposed to be a thing for the 3 of them. In the movie, it was just supposed to be for Marlena and August. And so Jacob keeps trying to leave the surprise, but August keeps demanding that he stays. And he comes into the tent, and he doesn't like right away start accusing them of being together. But I do like Christoph Waltz is just such a great actor. I love this scene when he comes in and he's like chit-chatting, and she says something about, oh, it's supposed to be a surprise. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. Did I ruin the surprise?
Yes. I was like, oh, he's so cringe. He's so good.
This is also a really like, he does so good with these uncomfortable scenes too, because he, instead of accusing them of being together, he's like, I just got a great idea for a new show. And then he essentially goes and makes Jacob and Marlena act out.
Yes.
Being an adultering couple.
Mm-hmm.
And like is also basically reenacting their dance from the raid prior. But after this, in the movie, Marlena begs. Marlena like gets on her knees and it's like, no, nothing is happening. This doesn't happen in the book. In the book, she's just pissed. She's like, how dare you not trust me? Like, what the hell? Although in the movie, this does give August a great line where he's like, of course, an innocent woman wouldn't have to get on her knees to prove her innocence or something like that. Yeah. I was like, ooh.
Yeah. I was like, oh, true.
I'm like, I don't like that he's right, but he's right.
Yes.
In the movie, August and Jacob don't beat each other up real bad. They beat each other a little bit, but like all Jacob has is like a cut on his lip and a little red mark on his eye. But in the book, like their whole face is supposed to be disfigured.
Yeah.
And what stops August and Jacob from fighting in the movie is the fact that the rubes, aka civilians, are seeing them fight.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
So then Walter takes Jacob back to the car and starts packing up Jacob's stuff. He's like, guess what? You just got fired. Which is not what happens in the book. And then Marlena comes and is like, you have to get away. August is going to kill you, blah, blah, blah. Not, hey, I'm leaving him. Which would make so much more sense. So then Jacob convinces Marlena to come with him. Also, Marlena is supposed to be beat up pretty bad herself. She's supposed to have a black eye. In the movie, she doesn't until later.
Yeah. So 93-year-old Jacob, his family forgot about him.
This is where, when I texted you and said I was crying, this is when I started crying.
Oh,
I was like,
gosh.
oh, this poor old guy.
I do feel bad for him, though. His son was supposed to come,
Yeah.
his oldest son. But when he put it in perspective, though, that his son is like in his 70s.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And he's like, and they're all dealing with their own stuff. So this is probably why they forgot me. But
Yeah.
like also,
Oh.
it's just so sad.
I
This poor
know.
old guy.
And so he also finds out that Rosemary, his favorite nurse, is moving. So it's like all this is sadness is just crashing down. And so back to 23-year-old. Marlena left August and went to a hotel. And Uncle Al calls Jacob in and says, hey, these two need to get back together or my show's going to be ruined. And Jacob refuses. He's like, no, that's ridiculous. He beat her. And he's like, I quit if you're going to make me do this. He's like, oh, well, what about Walter and Camel? And he's like threatening their lives. So,
But he calls Camel your stowaway,
yeah.
which then makes Jacob aware that he is aware of Camel being on his train this whole time.
Yes.
Whoops.
And so August finds Jacob and he tries to convince him to tell him where Marlena is, but Jacob won't. And he's like, fine, I'm going to go check all the hotels then. And so Jacob goes to Marlena to try and convince her to move hotels, but she's like, no, it's okay. He already came by. We're good. And they end up having sex and they spend all night getting to know each other. And they came up with a plan to trick Uncle Al and August and say that like she's just frustrated and she just needs some time. But soon she'll get back with him. But we got to take it nice and slow. And then as soon as they get to the town where Camel's son is, they're going to ditch too. And
So in the movie, obviously August isn't trying to convince Jacob that they still have to be together.
right.
So in the movie, Jacob and Marlena just jump the train and basically go to get a hotel just to have sex.
I have a fun fact about this scene.
Tell me.
You're not going to like it.
Why?
I don't think Reese Witherspoon likes Robert Pattinson.
What did she say?
Okay. Reese Witherspoon stated in interviews that the love scene that she did with Robert Pattinson wasn't pleasant at all. He had a bad cold the day of filming, and he even sneezed on her at one point. Witherspoon said he was literally snorting and snotting through every second of it, and it was not appealing. I'm talking green, infectious, disgusting. When Pattinson heard about her negative comments, he told the Chicago Sun-Times, listen, I had a cold and I kept apologizing to Reese, who had since revealed to the press that I had the worst sinus infection since I was a kid. Oh, when I was kissing her. She said he was just sniffling all the way through. I guess that was her response to Reese, you're the envy of so many girls.
What's funny is they talked about that in an interview together.
Oh.
She didn't seem too upset.
Well, maybe it's not. The way I read that, though, with the negative comments and like him being like, listen, I told her, I got the feeling that it was not a positive, but who knows? Maybe it was.
She's rude. I keep turning myself down.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm ready for you.
Turn yourself down.
That's not what I meant.
Shut up, Bri.
just be done.
So, to bring Marlena back from that, August's guys find them and just like crashes into the hotel room and beats Jacob and takes Marlena against her will. My next comment. Are you ready to be shocked? Do you want to guess what this next comment's about?
Robert Pattinson?
No.
What?
What haven't I talked about yet in this one?
Twilight.
How would I bring Twilight
You've
up
brought
as a
Twilight up in every other single thing.
Hey, this time it was you.
I don't know what.
Love the score when Jacob's angry. Both times in this movie, it's fantastic. It's like the but like very, I love it so much. And then it's just edited fantastically too, because then it goes to the beat of Rob's walk, and it's just so, I love it so much. But yeah, and then basically a scene that's coming up for you when Jacob has the knife and he's going to do damage to August happens here. But then Marlena's laying in bed with August in the movie, which is a difference, and she tells him to not do anything.
So the circus has lost so much money because this elephant act isn't happening because what? I'll get there. Okay. Because Marlena and August are not speaking. And because August can't go on stage because he looks like a mess. So
Yup.
yes. So this
not
means
the case in the movie.
now they can't pay their performers. So it's always only been they can't pay the workers, but now even the performers aren't getting paid. And Marlena then tells Jacob she's pregnant. Okay.
They've had sex only 3 times.
Right.
He's got some powerful sperm.
It only takes one. So the elephant.
I have not been following your
Oh,
notes.
the
Where are you
elephant.
at?
Okay, that's okay. The elephant act. Then they're like, we need some money. Let's go. So they do the elephant act, but Rosie's not listening again, and so August beats her up again, and then drags off Marlena, and Blackie, who's one of the other menagerie.
Those damn menagerie men.
He's another worker.
Menagerie.
He gives him a freaking concussion, like hardcore concussion.
That affects him in his 93-year-old.
Yes, which is why he can't remember things. And so, okay, he wakes up with this horrible concussion, and then with Walter and Camel, and he decides, I'm going to go kill August. And so he takes Walter's knife. He climbs across the top of the train, and then he gets down. And like Bri said, Marlena is not in bed with him, and he was going to go kill him, but he decided just to leave the knife as like a threat. And then he goes back, and all he can find is Queenie because he realized Walter and Camel were red lighted. So sad.
And he was supposed to be, but because he was on his way to go kill August, he was not.
Yes.
In the movie, the reason why he goes and goes with the knife to August's car is because when he gets back from the hotel that he was just at with Marlena, he first goes to his car and finds that Camel and Walter are gone. So he picks up the knife that's just there and he goes into the car to kill August.
Yep. So then Grady gets some information and he confirms that both of them were killed because they were thrown over the trestles. So they had like no chance of survival. Actually, Walter did survive, but he broke his legs and he was not expected to make it through the night. And he tries to get Marlena to leave now. He's like, we just gotta go. This guy's crazy. She's like, but we need to get this money first. It's in my trailer or cart or car.
Stateroom.
Yeah. We gotta go get it. And he's just like, oh my gosh, let's go. But then Grady shares, he's like, come on, we need to talk. Some of the guys are coming back who were red lighted that haven't died, and they're getting revenge. And then all of a sudden a commotion is heard. And we're back to the memory. The flashback. The preface. And all these animals are let out of their cages. Stampedes happening all over the place. And there goes Rosie, taking out her stake and smacking August on the head and killing him. I'm trying to remember, was it written differently or was it pretty much copy and pasted from the preface to
There was a little bit more information. And to me, the first time I read the preface, I really thought that Marlena was the one who killed him.
Yes.
Because he doesn't say anything about the elephant. It's always she.
Oh, okay. Because, when I typed it up,
Yeah.
I was like, I must have missed something. Because I typed that Marlena killed him too.
No, it's because it's always she. It's never Rosie, never Marlena. So because he sees the blonde. So then you're like, oh, it's his love interest. But really it's because Rosie's protecting Marlena.
Yeah.
But you don't know that at the beginning of the book.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. I really was like, how did I not read that the elephant did it? Like, how did I miss that?
No.
Because they didn't say it.
Because they don't say it.
Okay.
Yeah. They want you to think that it's Marlena.
Yeah.
And then at the end
they succeeded. Because then when Rosie did it, I was like, wait. What? When? That's awesome. But when did that happen?
Just now.
Yes.
Okay, so in the movie, we don't find out that Marlena is pregnant. That's just not something that gets brought up until after the whole movie.
I forgot about that.
And then Marlena is the one who tells Jacob about Cameron and Walter getting, or being found dead. Walter was found dead. Not even a chance. And Marlena is the one who's like, Grady and the other guys are going to come back and do something. I don't know what. So after that, that's when we'll leave. We see Jacob. He finds Queenie and he's walking with Queenie. And then you hear from inside the circus tent, like, of the band. And then screams. So then Jacob turns and starts running in because he's like, oh no, I got to go get Marlena. My next note is Cocaine Bear, because I don't know if you saw, but the bear that got released literally is like mauling a guy and it looks like Cocaine Bear.
Yes, that's awesome.
So then after Jacob finds Marlena in the main tent, August comes out of nowhere and just starts beating the shit out of Jacob. So then Marlena comes with a bullhook. My note says Marlena hits Jacob. Definitely meant Marlena hits August. So she comes up and hits August on the back when she realizes that he's beating up Jacob. And then he turns to beat her. So then she runs to Rosie. So then it's a fight between Marlena and August. And then Blackie, who is August, like bodyguard dude, comes and starts beating the shit out of Jacob, and he looks like he's about to die. And August also basically is choking Marlena. He's cutting off her windpipe, and this is when Rosie takes her stake and kills August. And then the last change that I have here in the book, the son's name is Simon, not Walter. In the movie, he's named Walter, but I realized that they did that because they wanted to to show that Jacob was close to Walter. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, that's cute.
So the book is just a little bit more. The other circuses come and they pick for parts from theirs. And Jacob saves Rosie so that she wouldn't get beat up anymore. Marlena saves all the rest of the horses. And Jacob called his college and he's able to go finish his degree. And Uncle Al's caught a few days later and he's like strangled.
Strangled? He killed himself.
Yeah, he strangled himself by hanging himself.
Yeah. Like
I missed that. I really thought other people hung him.
No, he did it.
Oh, okay.
He did it to get out of
being arrested.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything. Yeah.
That makes sense. And then Marlena and Jacob go off and have a great life together and have 5 kids together. And they join the Ringling Circus. And then eventually they join the zoo.
Yep.
join the zoo. They get jobs at the zoo.
that zoo.
And so then it jumps back to 93-year-old. And Jacob didn't want to miss the circus, so he scooted over there by himself. And the owner, Charlie, let him watch it. And when he found out who he was, he's like, please come talk to me about this stampede. And he spoke to him. They just chatted like where they were friends. And a police came and tried to, find him. But Charlie's like, no, he's not here. This is my dad. And he's right at home. And he let Jacob stay on for the rest of the season.
Yep. And I like the line where Charlie was like, doesn't it feel weird like running away from home? And Jacob goes, I'm not running away from home. I'm running to home.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's so
sweet.
cute. Guys, we did it.
We did.
Woo.
Okay.
Oh, God, I'm back to wooing.
Oh, it's been so
I
long.
know. Apparently, it just had to be a Rob one.
Oh, gosh.
Rob gets me to woo.
Oh, no. Oh, no. All right. So IMDb cast 194 people for this movie.
That's a ton of
All
people,
those
but it's the circus
circus.
crew.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, let's start. Reese Witherspoon played Marlena.
So I thought about recasting her, but I like her too much, but she's not the right age.
I recast her.
Who'd you recast?
I love Reese Witherspoon, but she was
Yeah.
not right for Marlena. I picked Rachel McAdams.
Oh, that would have I'll go with her
Okay.
because she would have been the right age.
Uh-huh.
Because it pissed me off when I read it. Because I've always had a slight problem with her, but I've also been like, but I kind of like the she's older than him, forbidden love thing. But then I was reading it and I was like, wait, she marries August when she's 17 and they've only been married for 4 years.
Yeah. She was supposed to be
21.
younger
Yeah.
than Jacob. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I didn't like how she played Marlena either.
No, I didn't either. She I don't know. I feel in the book, I feel like she is the doting, responsible wife, but she knows she's in a bad situation. So she kind of flirts a little bit more with Jacob and is like, you're more my style. In the movie, she plays doting wife.
Yeah.
Way more.
Yeah. I just didn't. Yeah. She wasn't right.
Yeah. I also just don't like the name Marlena too.
No, yeah, I don't either. But
So it's
this
always hard for me to be like, oh, that's your love interest. Okay.
It was the 30s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that when
Yeah.
it came? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because the whole thing, they do really good with this too. It's set in the Great Depression. So it's a book about the Great Depression, but it's not the focal point of it.
Yeah. I did like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Robert Pattinson plays Jacob. I think that's hilarious that he plays Jacob.
It's fantastic. I love it. He does so good.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did good.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a redhead, though.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is if you watch Breaking Dawn, did you realize how his hair is darker and more red?
Oh, no, I didn't.
It's because they dyed it a little bit for this movie. But in this movie, it doesn't even really look like it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were around the same time either.
This came before Breaking Dawn.
Oh.
And so that's why his hair goes from unruly Edward to...
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think he did fine.
He's fantastic. I love hearing him speak Polish. And I love seeing him with the elephant. My favorite scene is when the elephant is going for his pocket.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, hey, where you going? As he's going down.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Okay. Christopher Waltz plays August. Did I say it wrong?
Christoph Waltz?
Oh. I'm just, you know how your brain just clicks first
You
couple
see
letters?
Christoph?
Yep. That's what happened.
I love Christoph Waltz, especially as a bad guy.
He did great.
So, have you watched anything else he's in? Inglourious Bastards?
Oh, yep, I see that.
So he's...
Oh, is he? He's the bad guy. Oh, yeah.
So I had seen that one, I think, before this, obviously, because that one I'm pretty sure came out way before this.
Yeah, it did.
And so then this one, and I was like, dude, he's just great as a bad guy. Have you watched Django Unchained?
Yes.
That is one of my all-time favorite Christoph Waltz performances because he plays the good guy.
Oh.
Because he plays Django's like buddy that goes with him.
I saw it like long ago. I can't remember it. But
well, that was the first time I ever saw him play a nice guy. And I remember because I was so prepared for him to be the ass.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, good. He's in it. I'm going to hate him. And then I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's an actor. Like, if you can make me hate you in 2 movies and then love you in this one, you're amazing. Yeah. So I love, he is August.
Yes, he did great.
Yeah. I don't like that they combined him with Uncle Al. I wish they had kept them. I understand why they combined them, but I wish they were separate. But
I preferred them
together.
I liked. Oh, it made more sense to me for August to be
the ringmaster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
like just because reading it, I was like, it felt more. He felt like he had more power in the movie. And whereas like, but I get in the book because whenever he got in trouble, then Rosie got in trouble, and so I don't know. The ring, I don't know, Big Al or Uncle Al or whatever.
Uncle Al,
Big Al, just seemed like an extra character that wasn't totally needed for me. But
okay,
Hal Holbrook.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, played old Jacob.
I love him.
He was so cute.
I love him. I swear he looks like what I would assume Rob's gonna grow up to. Have you seen a picture of Rob's dad? Where's a picture of him without his sunglasses?
Oh, he looks just like him.
Yeah.
How funny.
So I'm like, I can see this guy being what Rob turns into.
Funny. Yeah, I think he did good. I pictured in the book him crankier.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for the short scenes he did, I think he did fine. Because he was not as cranky at the end when he was at the circus.
Yeah.
Which is the only
to be at the
only place he was in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think he did fine.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, good.
Jim Norton.
Yes.
Plays Camel. I love Camel.
Yeah, I felt bad for him.
I know. Camel is actually like exactly how I pictured him when I read him too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Mark Povinelli.
I was going to say you should be.
I should be able to read that one. Played Kinko or Walter. Same character.
Yeah. Just clown name versus real name.
Yep.
I liked him.
I did too. He was cute.
Yeah, he was fun.
Mm-hmm. He was perfect.
Yep.
And then who?
We've got Ty, who plays Rosie.
She's so good.
Yeah, she was fun.
Yes, I loved her.
I had never wanted to meet an elephant until I saw this movie and saw all of the like interviews with Reese and Rob.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. So our elephant at our zoo, at Point Defiance up here in Tacoma, we have Suki, and she's been there for years, like since we were kids.
Oh wow.
And she used to be a circus elephant.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they rescued her.
Oh.
I can't remember if this is 100% true or not, but I believe when I was, they do the elephant talks and everything.
Yeah.
I think they even said that she had to be like really like calmed down and trained.
Oh, I bet.
Because I think she ended up killing a couple of her trainers because of her trauma from
the circus.
Now, Point Defiance, please message me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, don't come
after me. Just message me and I'll do a correction.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was like, oh my gosh,
that's so cool.
Yeah. So she's very old and sad now because her other elephant friend died.
So sad.
So sad. Anyways, then we have Uggy as Queenie, Ice as Silver Star, and Major as Rex. Had to give my animals their shout outs.
Good job, guys.
Yes, they did so good.
Is the theme of the book and the movie the same?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Circus, horrible life of the circus.
Yes.
Yes.
Do the characters stay true in the movie to how they are written in the book?
I think for the most part, other than like we said, Marlena.
Yeah.
And then they combined a character and.
Yeah, but other than that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which do we prefer? Book or movie? Why?
You go.
I want you to go.
No, I want you to go first.
I want you to go
I
first.
want you to go first.
What do you think I'd choose?
I think you're going to choose movie.
I do. Did you choose book?
No, I chose movie too.
Holy shit. I was like, this is really out of whack. Yeah, I chose the movie.
Because of your moment? Because you read it first, right?
I don't know if it's because I think... So here's
or it's
what
Rob.
Actually,
it's Rob.
No. Here's what I actually think it is. The book is written as a lot of backstory.
Yeah, almost the whole story is backstory.
Mm-hmm. And while it's entertaining, and I've read this book, this was my third time reading it, maybe fourth. So I've read it often, just not more often.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times where it's hard for me, and I get stuck, and I get like, can I get to the next like good part?
Yeah.
And then, of course, when I get really hooked into the story, it then goes and flashes to old Jacob, and I'm like, oh my gosh, can we?
Old Jacob is the current part, though.
I know. That's what makes it even worse. So I think I like that they only bookend in the movie with old Jacob, and yeah, I had my special moment. This is the movie that really made me like really, really want to work in film. Like I always say it's Nightmare Before Christmas, but the one that gave me that little goosebump feeling and like deep in my gut. Like what's funny is the reason I chose the song for our reaction video is it's from the trailer, and it only played in that one trailer. Oh. So I went and rewatched it, and it gave me the exact same feeling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know. I was like, she's going to think it's just because of Rob. And it's not just because of Rob. That's all I've been thinking since I realized what I would choose. I was like, Rob is a big part of it, but he's not like, I think if it was a quicker read for me and it didn't feel like a bunch of backstory, and if I didn't have my moment with it, I would probably choose book.
So a lot has to change for you to choose book, as you're saying.
Yeah. And part of it is a gut feeling, so good luck changing that.
I like the movie better because the book just went into a lot more detail about how depressing the circus was. Whereas you can see it in the movie, obviously. I mean, you see it more than like they beat up Rosie and like...
Well, what's funny too is in the book, yeah, they beat her up, but you never see it. Because August goes to do it, and then Jacob always gets stuck talking to Marlena or like doing something else.
Yeah, I know. But then you have details about all the other animals, or you have details about all the workers, or like, so it's just like how crummy the circus was and the depression was back then. And it was just like, it's a very depressing read. And while it was also a depressing movie, got done within 2 hours versus 11 and a half. So, yeah, I'm going to choose movie, right? Did I say it right?
Yes. Yeah, you did. Yeah. I also choose movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
All right. We've got a Wednesday mini-sode, and guys, guess what? There's discussion questions in the end of this book.
Oh, so it's kind of like perks.
Yeah. We're going to have a Water for Elephants themed mini-sode.
Yep. And next week,
The Giver.
Yep. This was an interesting read for sure.
I know. What's funny is like, I know for a fact I read it in middle school, and I remember hating it.
Maybe that's when I read it. I'm trying to figure out when I read it before, and it's during school. I can't remember if it was middle school or high school. So maybe it was middle school.
I'm pretty sure I had to read it because I went to Jason Lee for a little bit, and I had to read it there. Got done with it. Was like, oh, thank God. Got put up here in Meeker and had to fucking read it again.
I would have just kept all my notes and been like,
Yeah. But so I probably read it twice in middle school.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I don't know. So come find out if we still hate it like we did in middle school.
Middle school. All right.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for sticking with us.
We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, we would greatly appreciate it if you subscribed, rate, and reviewed.
You can also follow us on Facebook at Offscript, Instagram at Offscript Podcast 21, and TikTok at Offscript_pod.
Shoutouts to Madam Ashen Creations for our adorable logo art.
And Adam Daniel for our incredible theme song.
And to Creative Cinephile Productions for producing our podcast. See you next time.